All right, Brian, you take it easy, man.
All right, Scott.
And if all goes well, which it should, we'll see you shortly.
No, we'll see you shortly.
Yeah, definitely. One way or the other.
Just remember, life's too short to be in a hurry, man.
That's what my wife keeps telling me.
I believe it now.
Yeah. It takes a couple big ones,
Yeah.
and then you kind of learn your lesson.
I hear you. I had a heart attack and a grand mal seizure within the last year and a half.
Jeez.
Now I'm starting to tackle my bucket list. That's why I'm up here being a camp host.
There you go. I thought about doing that. My wife and I thought about selling everything and just hitting the road and doing exactly that. I got diastolic heart failure, COPD, 2 different kinds of asthma, chronic hypoxia, nocturnal hypoxia. Yeah.
My wife, she works for corporate America. She works for a corporate for Banner Bank.
Oh, yeah.
So she can go anywhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we just decided to do bucket list things. I already know I'm not going to be here forever, but while I am, I'm going to start enjoying it a little bit more.
That's the way to do it, my man. All right, you take it easy. Thank you. All right, so that is Brian. He's the camp host here at Harris Park. Really nice guy. That's definitely the way to start. So if you're looking for a campground with a nice host, Brian is the guy. All right, let's give you a view of the trail, guys and girls. All right, so there's the trail. Boom, we are officially here. We got a reading on the oxygen right off the bat. The oxygen was at 92, so we're a little low, but we're going to be checking it. We did bring the O2 meter with us. Whew. Wow, I am so happy to be out here. My oxygen has been tanking so bad the last couple years. I had pretty much given up on doing any of these things. If you're going through, if you have breathing issues like I do, if you're on a tank, stuck on the couch, that's where I've been there. Just terrified that your oxygen's gonna tank out. You're gonna have to go through the dizzy spells, feeling like you're breathing through a straw. That is a scary feeling. It can definitely screw you up and put the fear of God in you. And then, I know for me, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go camping, didn't want to go hiking. I lost all interest in life. I mean, I even lost interest in being a parent for a long time. It was just too hard. I was stressed out, I was freaked out, dealing with PTSD. Dealing with nocturnal hypoxemia and hypoxia, chronic hypoxia ever since my injury. It just made it, well, you guys have got to see this. Check it out. So Brian was talking about it washed out. Oh, it did. Washed out a little more than usual. So this is the Walla Walla River. Wow, isn't that beautiful? Now, look at that. Oh, it definitely ain't washed out here too. So there used to be a much better walkway through here. I'm going to get through here. Check it out. That is beautiful. That is so clear. You know that that is an amazing spot to fish, right? Right over there. I've caught quite a few in here. Let's see what we have to go through just to get to this point, and it only gets better. Well, should we go this way to get around? Or should we go down this embankment? You guys tell me. Let's take a look. I'll give you a look. Oh, there's the embankment. We got trail A, trail B. What do you think? I say we go around. That was way easier. Much appreciated. Wow, look how clear that is. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, we got up that. Makes it look small, but it's like 3-4 feet climbing straight up that little wall right there. All right, so we're at 91%. The oxygen is at 90%. We're gonna check, and I'll let you guys see here in a few minutes, but we had to check the oxygen. I started getting a little woozy while I was walking over those rocks, and that could have ended really badly, so we don't want to be doing that. But we got a long hike in front of us. We're only on 2 liters of oxygen right now, that's concerning me. So no matter what, we're heading back at 50%. Hopefully the battery lasts as long on the way there as it does on the way back. Oh, I still think that was really cool. You know, coming up here, and then I really wish I would have interviewed Brian, so the camp host. I told him what was going on, that, you know, I'm fighting back against my chronic disease, trying to live a better, healthier life, and got into a conversation with the camp host, Brian, and he's about my age, and his wife works for a local bank. I'm not going to give her name, but he's okay with his name being on here. But anyway, he suffers from heart issues and breathing issues. Worked in the trades his whole life, a lot like me, and made some bad decisions. And, you know, finally it caught up with him, and him and his wife decided that they're going to start knocking things off the bucket list. That it was that time in life. He's 55 years old. And she's a little older, and decided to retire, sell everything, and take a job as the camp host up here. And so what happens is they do hosting up here in the summer, and then they head down to Arizona and do camp hosting in the winter in Arizona and Colorado. And I think that is just freaking awesome. Maybe one of you know somebody who lives that kind of life, but it is something that I have definitely considered. I've even talked to my wife about it. About doing that retirement gig. You're selling everything, buying a fifth wheeler, and doing the camp host thing. Because we love camping, and we definitely love our relaxing, but we love the outdoors. Unfortunately, I don't mind roughing it. My wife, however, she's not a big roughing it kind of person. Roughing it for her is like a queen size bed at worst, with like 10 pillows, you know. But check this out. We are officially to the bridge. Check it out, guys. All right. There's the river. I have fished this spot many, many times. It is awesome. Look at that. Welcome to Harris Park. Now look at those basalt rock formations. Isn't that cool? So I've got a background in geology, second generation geology. Mom is number one. But I try not to take things like rock upcroppings for granted. Oh, geology joke. You gotta laugh, right? All right, let's hit the trail, guys. Back on it. Okay, so we're about a half mile in, and so far we're doing pretty well. Oxygen's a little low, but we expected that. The condenser is doing its job, and we've been checking the oxygen about every 5 minutes. So far, so good. All right, that bridge was super cool. Always liked that bridge. It's well built. Wasn't always well built though. That thing got washed out once, and long time ago. So there are, so this all used to be an area where you could ride ATVs and dirt bikes like so many parks back in the day. If you're old like me, you probably remember the days when you could go to just about any state park or national park and riding dirt bikes was allowed. It wasn't until recently that they stopped doing that, which I think is unfortunate. I think we should all be able to enjoy the beauty of the outdoors together like this. I mean, check that out. Does it get any better than that? Right there we go. The U.S. Department of the Interior Bureau of Land Management trailhead. All right, so we know that that's not going to be well groomed. I'm just kidding. They do a pretty good job. All right. All right, we took a little right here at the Bureau sign, and we're going to head back down to the river, actually down to the river on one of these trailheads. This is one of my secret little fishing spots, and when we moved up to this area it's been about 9 years, 10 years. We moved up here. This is where I would come and actually bathe in the river to get clean, and it is really overgrown. Holy cow. Hopefully we can even get through. Check it out. Yeah, it's a little overgrown this year. Okay, let's see if there is a way through. Okay. Oh. Oh. Don't know about that. Okay. That's not even close to as bad as I thought it was. And because we missed the trail completely. Yeah, so I knew there was another trail. I just forgot which one was which. Typically I would come down that way. That's right. That is the way in. Right there. And there's actually a restroom right there for those of you that are considering coming out to Harris Park to hike. And here is the river. Check it out. So I have seen a couple massive brown trouts caught in here, talking 22 to 24 inches, just at the legal limit. And you've got to be real careful when you're fishing down here. The limits are set for a reason, and you want to make sure you're following those rules and regulations. This is one of my favorite spots to fish. I'm giving away my fishing etiquette, my fishing spots, but right up around the corner there. You get in here and you hike up there, and you just past this little bit of like so-called rapids, not really rapids. They're not really rapids, I know. That's where you want to cast in down here. Anything pink works, anything with a gold flash works, but that's the spot. All right, let's keep going. Whew. A little bit windy here. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. I know I am. Just doing a little recording for everybody today, checking out Harris Park here. And we are at Harris Park, Eastern Oregon. Walking the trailhead, which is, like I said, this is about a 2 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. And I would think that 10 would be graded on the curve. So, not super hard doing the hiking up here at all. If you've been to Harris Park and you see this video, make sure you throw something down in the comments. I'd love to hear about your experience here. I'd love to hear how it was for you, if you camped, did the roughing camp and actually brought a tent, or if you built your own shelter, or if you just sleeping bagged it, or if you brought an RV and did some glamping. I have nothing against glampers. As a matter of fact, at this time in life, it seems like the right route to go. I'm not sure if we're actually on the trail, heading back out to the main trail. It looks like we're getting a little bit off here, but we'll just keep going, and I think eventually it'll put us back on the main trail, you know? Okay, a little dizzy. That would be number 3. Number 3 dizzy. There's another trail down there. So Brian was asking me, the camp host, he was asking me if I had come up here with anybody, or if I had anybody with me, or if I was meeting somebody. I told him no, and he looked a little concerned. Especially after I told him health issues that I have and things like that. All right, check that out. There we are, South Fork Walla Walla River Trailhead, 3,200 feet. So that's the elevation, so that's about where we're at, Burnt Cavern Road. And I got to tell you too, so looking at the elevation on this, I grew up at 0 elevation. So I grew up near the Puget Sound. Typically, the elevation I lived at was about 300 feet. So it is, you know, coming out here is always feels a little bit like before when I would come out to this area and visit family, because I have a whole bunch of family in this area. I noticed that the elevation would kind of kick my butt a little bit. Now I've had almost a decade to get used to it, but still, when you spend 40 years at sea level and then go to 3,000 feet, it's a bit of a difference. I'm surprised we haven't seen any deer yet, you know? Okay, so we've been hiking for, what has it been? Probably 25 minutes, about. Had a couple breaks, checked our oxygen a few times. We haven't tanked officially yet, or at least not that I've caught. Now there was one that I'm pretty sure I tanked out on. I got the full dizzy spell and a little bit of headache, and that's usually indicative of the O2 dropping. But so far, all in all, not too shabby. We are at, I'm not even sure what our oxygen is up there. We're at 85%. So we're doing pretty good. Not too bad. Oh, I love this. So all of this is new this season. This is totally all new. There used to be a big like swimming pool area that would accumulate for about the last 6 years right here. And that other little river right back in here, that was the main river. But it pushed all the way back to here. Look at that. Wow. That is something else. Woo. All right, so we've been at it for about, it's got to be going on about 30 minutes now. And we're going to pull out the old 2 meter again here in a few. We're going to check our oxygen, let you guys see where I'm at. I'm just going to find a shady spot first and then we'll get at it. But yeah, this has been a beautiful hike. I love coming up here. I love the fact that it's 30 minutes away. You know, it's a well taken care of park with a lot of trails and things like that. I used to be all about just roughing it, heading out to the wild where nobody was and nobody's ever been, and I thought that that's the way to go. But as I get older, and if you're old like me, maybe you can agree, you start to appreciate the areas that are taken care of. This is new. A few things have fallen down apparently, but we're not even going to jump over it. We're going to go around it. Yeah, I don't know how far back in here we're going to go. There's nobody else that's in here today. It's just me. It is during the week, so I'm doing this on a Wednesday afternoon while my wife is at work. The only person that actually knows I'm here are the people that saw my commercial for this video, which is what I'll call it, because it basically was a commercial for this video. And Brian, the camp host. I was going to tell my wife, and I totally just biffed it and forgot to tell my wife that I was heading out on a hike. So yeah, feel free to throw something in the comments along the lines of idiot or you're stupid, because you should always, when you're out hiking or heading out for a hike, let people know where you're going, because if they don't see you or find you in a decent amount of time, you could be missing, right? You could head back, something could happen, you could hurt yourself, it could be a wild animal attack, and those things happen quite a bit. You know, it's just part of hiking life, being out in the wild. Ooh. And of course, right as I say that, get a chill going down my back, like maybe there's a bear I didn't see and it's watching me. This right here, check that out. So down this trail takes us out to the river. There's actually, used to be an easier way, I think, over here. Let's go see. We'll go check this out. There we go. All right, and back into the bush we go. We just can't get away from that, can we? All right. Oh. Whew. River time. So this is one of the areas I was going to come fish. I'm glad that I am doing the hike today. Because if I do decide to come fishing back here, I'm bringing somebody, And yeah, that little beach right there, you used to be able to walk all the way across over there. All right, we're gonna got sweat in my eyes. That sucks. But part of the deal. All right. Should be able to just mosey on through. Made a little bit of noise a minute ago. I thought I saw something move in the bushes, so I did a little screaming to scare off whatever it was. Oh wow, look at that. There's a lot of algae in here this year. So that's crazy. Wow, this is so different this year. So different. So typically this embankment goes way down. It just looks so different this year, unless I'm at the wrong spot, but I don't think so. Nope. Isn't that beautiful though? Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I just saw a huge one right there. You see it? You can see the shadow on his tail flickering. Look at all that. It's just been so hot this year. So hot. All that's growing in there. Man, that stinks. All right, so we got the pack off. We are at I think one of the most beautiful spots within the first 2 miles of the trailhead here at Harris Park. Sorry, I had to remember what it was. So we're about 2 miles up the trailhead at Harris Park. We pulled off on the riverside, checking out the oxygen, and that oxygen tank is doing wonders. So when I first read it, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it doesn't show it well, but it shows a 92, which to me is super impressive. See if we can get it, except my heart rate is through the roof. So my heart rate is a 115 and my oxygen is a 92. So we're not doing too bad. That's actually not bad at all. That's actually really good. So let's enjoy the river, right? When people tell you you can't do it, you should quit. I believe in pushing through. It's the way I was raised. One last look at the river. Sorry, I know the river's going to be loud. Okay, well, we made it up to the spot we wanted to get to. We had a few small oxygen drops, but nothing catastrophic. Nothing down below 88, which is awesome. Except for the one time I'm pretty sure we got below 88. We were dizzier than snot. I'm sorry. Dizzy as a top and the out of breath feeling, you know. But we're gonna make our way back now. Whew. That used to be a better way than climbing over all this stuff, but that's what we're gonna do. So let's get climbing. All right, so we made it up to the 2.5 mile mark. Was the goal for today. We're keeping it reasonable, not going overboard. We just wanted to see if all of that training, all the walking on the treadmill every single day for what was only 5 minutes in the beginning, but after a month we made it to 15 minutes on the treadmill and 3 miles. That's right. Sorry, not 3 miles, 1 mile, because we're walking 3 miles an hour on the treadmill. But we were able to do that pretty much with ease as long as we had the oxygen on. So after putting in the workout, putting in the time, and I mean the workout, heavy workout too, we dropped 4 inches in the waist in 1 month. We dropped 20 pounds in 1 month. We went from only being able to walk for a few minutes and having our oxygen tank and having chest pain and just a whole lot of troubles and problems to now, at this moment, going on a 3 mile hike, walking very slow on oxygen. But we did it. We made it 3 miles. Yep. I think that's pretty cool. You know, we're in a fight for our life right now, and that's just the truth of it. You know, every day I wake up and it's been another night of terrible sleep. I don't have good sleep at night, and that's just the truth. I've accepted it. I take medication so I can sleep. I take medication so my PTSD doesn't overwhelm me with intrusive thoughts of the crap I went through at the Hell House. And there's not much I can do about it. You know, when it happens, I take the steps I'm supposed to. I do my accounting. I do the best not to put myself in situations where I'm around chemicals that will trigger my PTSD. I do my best to be healthy, to not be around just anything that will trigger my PTSD. Not unless I'm controlling it. You know, if I know it's coming, it's not as bad. But if it just randomly pops up, then it's terrible. And unfortunately, it affects my sleep terribly. You know, the oxygen affects my sleep. You know, waking up, not breathing throughout the night 3 or 4 times. You know, gasping for air in the middle of the night. You don't get a lot of good sleep, but I've had years to get used to it. You know, I've had since around September of 2020 to get used to it, and I didn't even have oxygen for years. You know, it was literally just running out of air and then having to take deep breaths, trying to get as much oxygen in me as I can. Okay, fortunately we're having some chest pain right now. It's not good. Oh, that's not good. You know, I get these freaking pains right where my heart is. I have heart palpitations as well. That was a new thing. They're minor heart palpitations. But along with the diastolic heart failure and the breathing, when it happens, whoa, it's concerning. But back to the glory of this whole thing. We did it 3 miles. We made it 3 miles. We put in the effort. We put in the work. And hopefully we make it back without having a heart attack. We're going to find out. We're going to turn it off for 1 minute here. How's it going? Yeah, working. Okay. Yeah, so we're having some bad chest pain right now. I was just going over the glory of all the effort we put in, all the effort we put into working out, all the effort we put in to getting on the treadmill every day. And I mean every single day, you know, going from 2 miles an hour to 3 miles an hour on the treadmill, you know, making it a solid 15 minutes at 3 miles an hour, which, you know, that's a decent pace. That's no schlucker pace for even a normal person. You know, doing it with oxygen at 4 liters an hour, you know, seems like we have come up with a recipe to live life a little bit better. And, you know, I'm not telling anybody out there, hey, go do all the things I'm doing. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that if you're on oxygen, you should hop on the treadmill and start going that route. But what I am saying is maybe talk to your doctor. See what your doctor says. See if your doctor says it's okay. You know, my doctor didn't give me an answer. He didn't say that doing these things was going to repair myself. But I did tell him that I spent most of my life working out. I've always been an athletic guy, you know. Played community college baseball. I played sports in high school, sports in college, sports in elementary school, sports out of college. Ooh. That is a bad feeling, guys. And there's the dizzy spell. All right. We may need to sit down. All right, that's not good. Oh boy. Yeah, we're gonna keep trucking. I'm having some serious chest pain, and it sucks really bad. Ooh. Man, just right at the end, you know, I find myself saying a lot of prayers. I don't know if people that watch this are spiritual or religious or atheist or what have you. Myself, I do believe in a higher power. I don't have the audacity to think I know what or who it is. And if you do, hey, good for you, but it's just not my thing. You know, I tend to follow more of the teachings of Jesus, but I also think Buddha is a good way. You know, don't do harm on the people, and don't let people do harm onto you. The reason I'm saying that is when I start getting these chest pains, and I forgot my nitroglycerin at home, the little pill that they give you for when you're about to have a heart attack, it causes a little bit of concern. And I'm getting a little dizzy too, but I'm also not far from the car. And I know I don't have cell phone coverage out here. I will in about another half a mile though. Gosh dang it. Oof. Oh, come on. Sometimes when I smack the heart a little bit, it's most likely it's just my bowels don't open and close right, and my heart likes to skip beats, so it's painful, and it's typically just that. There's only one time I've ever had to actually take that pill under the tongue for a heart attack. And I didn't even go to the doctor afterwards. I should have, but I didn't. And I had the full range on that one. It was chest pain, followed by neck pain, arm pain. And then I ended up popping the pill, and then I popped another one, and then I popped another one. And about 3 hours later, I was fine. This was about 2 years ago. So I am walking back right now, having a little chest pain, and a little numbness feeling in my face. Not great. And man, maybe I shouldn't have had that drink. No, I'm just kidding. It's definitely not the drink. I had one the other day and I was fine. This just happens. I am getting a little bit blurred vision. Hey guys, we're gonna do this. We'll be fine. We're almost there. Here, I'll show you where we're at. All right, there we are. Got about a half mile to go. That is beautiful. I think we're gonna sit down for a minute, everybody. I think we're gonna sit down for a sec and let this chest pain pass. And if it doesn't pass, some people just walk by. They look like they're heading up fishing. Oh. Whew. It's been a good walk up, you know. It's been a really hard road to get to the endurance level again, where I could even do this much. You know, it took a month before the month that I started actually hitting the treadmill and working at it. It took a month of not getting serious about it, not because I didn't want to, but because it was so hard. When the oxygen tanks, for me, it's off-putting. It's hard to get around, you know? When you're dealing with chest pains and low oxygen and the dizzy spells and the headaches, the lack of energy, the lack of sleep, the depression, the anxiety, everything that seems to come with this stupid stuff, you know, the intrusive thoughts, the PTSD, and dealing with all that and then trying to find a reason to fight and build a little bit better life is hard. Especially when I didn't have all the answers, and then, you know, getting a diagnosis from the doctor. Basically, the doctor telling me that I'm not crazy, that what I've been seeing happen, that all these other doctors have been telling me it's nothing. No, you're just depressed, or it's this, you know, and some of them even saying embarrassing things that are just ridiculously off the wall. Like telling my doctor, hey, look, my oxygen is dropping. I'm having intrusive thoughts, disassociation. And then they're chalking it up to, oh, you're just depressed. And it's all because it was work related. All of it is because it was work related. It's ridiculous. The system is so broken. I feel for anybody that has to deal with the system. I do. If you're fighting through a workers' comp claim, my heart goes out to you. You know, go see your doctor before you go down the road of letting them treat you. Because once they start treating you, you're screwed. That's just my opinion. Those people have no love inside them. They're soulless. And that's how I feel about it. All right, the chest pain is not as bad right now, so we're going to get going. Let's do this thing. Whew. It's been one heck of a walker, that's for sure. I didn't even have a chance to use my chest rig today. It's interesting though. The responses I've gotten from people that have come by me or seen me recording. So at our local Handy Mart, I'll talk to you guys in a minute. This is too loud. right, so we made it past the noisy part of the river. As I was saying, so I experienced a lot of different things being somebody who films for YouTube and creates. It is a love-hate situation for sure. I actually walked into the local mini mart, local handy mart, the one I go to all the time, and one of the gentlemen in there, I was recording and I was going to record up the counter, and I thought he would be okay with it, but as soon as I brought the camera and it looked like it was going to go towards him, he was like, no, don't film me, and like ran from behind the counter to the back area and then said, you can't record me. And I actually had turned off the camera at that time because something about him told me maybe he wouldn't want to be recorded. So I try and be respectful about those things. But then I also get, he said you can record anything in the whole place, just not him. So, you know, I got some footage, and you guys have probably seen that on there, of me going in, buying the soda or whatever that is, the energy drink, right? Then I get to the campground, and there's Brian. Now, Brian, great guy, from what I can tell. I don't know him well, but seems like a good guy. Totally okay with me filming. He thought it was really cool that a 50-year-old guy is on YouTube making videos about recovering from chronic illness and disease, which is what this is. Hopefully giving people hope and inspiration to get back on the horse and keep riding, you know. That's what I hope everybody can do, you know. And then getting here and meeting Brian and chatting with Brian a little bit. I wish I would have had him on film. A really cool guy, a lot of good stuff to say. His own story, gave me a quick version of it about how he's been fighting it. And like I told you earlier, him and his wife decided to become campsite hosts and give up the big city life. So there's him, and then on the way back, there's this young couple, probably about 22 years old, and I'm walking by and they can see I'm recording. I actually put a sticker on there when they're walking by, and they give me the dirtiest look, just the dirtiest look. You know, they can see I've got the selfie stick fully out, like, whoa, and I'm just chatting away, talking about things, and this kid and his girlfriend just gave me a dirty look, and they were heading up fishing. They had a fishing rod, no tackle box, no net, no string, just him and his girlfriend heading up there, and you know, good for them. I hope they catch something, and I hope they throw it back because they don't have any way to hold on to it. I don't know. I'm confused what they're planning on doing with the fish. Maybe beating it in the head and putting it on a twig. I mean, I've done some crazy things, but to get the fish home. But we have officially made it back. So we did 3 miles today. 1.5 miles up, maybe 2, and about 1.5, maybe 2 back. All right, woo-hoo. We're officially back. It's hotter than the hubs of hell here in my my truck, and we got the oxygen on. We're getting out of here. We made it. We did it. I mean, we did it.